Okay, so question 15, it's talking about the force between magnets are inversely proportional. So this is going to be about proportionality, so we need to remember to have the two pictures in mind. Direct proportion, we need to remember, has always got the relationship between the two variables, that y is equal to the proportionality constant k times the other variable. So the y values times k times the x values. And for inverse proportion, we need to remember the graphs tend to look like this. As one variable goes up, the other one comes down. And for inverse proportion, we need to remember that the relationships are always of the form y equals the proportionality constant k divided by the variable, whatever it is. So we have to have those kind of pictures and formulas in mind. So let's have a look what it wants. It wants us to calculate a value when x equals 2. Well, to do this, we're going to need a formula that connects the two variables. So what formula have we got? Well, we've got the force F between the two magnets is inversely proportional. So F is going to be k divided by, and it's inversely proportional to the square of the distance x. So we've got to remember that it's about the square of x, not just x on its own. The first thing to do then is find the k value. So we make k the subject, so move the x squared across to the other side of the equals. It's divided by x squared here, so it must be times by x squared there. So k will equal the f value times the x squared value. So k is going to equal, well, they've told us some information to calculate it, so they're saying f is 4 times the x value squared. So 4 times 9, 3 squared is 9, is 36. So we put this value back into our original formula to get the final formula to use in the question. So the f values are always going to be 36 divided by the square of x. So now we can do the actual question. So it says calculate f when x is 2. So f is going to equal 36 divided by the x squared value, 2 squared. 2 squared is 4, so 36 divided by 4 is 9. So our first answer is going to be 9. It then says calculate x when f is 64. So again, if we notice what our formula was, it's 36 divided by x squared. And so we replace what we know. Well, f we know is 64. So we've got 64 is equal to 36 over our x squared. Well, the question wants the value of x, so we need to rearrange this to make x the subject. So we've got divide by x squared here, so we're going to times by x squared. So 64 times x squared is 36, and then we want x as a subject, so we need to get the 64 over to there. It was timesing, so x squared is going to be 36 divided by 64. Making x the subject means that it wants to be x on its own, so we're going to get the squaring out of the way, and the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So x is going to be the square root of 36 over 64, and that could be rewritten as the square root of 36 over the square root of 64. So the square root of 36 is 6, the square root of 64 is 8, so that cancels down to 3/4. So the answer here will be 3/4. And that's proportionality.